Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75. Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
As the voice of Michigan student athletes, the Student Advisory Council's role
is to convey the message of how high school sports are supposed to be played.
We were responsible for helping the MHSAA maintain a positive and healthy atmosphere
in which interscholastic students can thrive.
We believe athletes should be competitive,
sportsmanlike, and excel academically.
We believe students in the stand should have fun,
but not take the focus away from the game. We believe coaches should act as teachers,
helping student athletes develop while still keeping high school sports in perspective.
We believe that parents should always be positive role models
and be supportive of their child's decisions.
We believe officials commit their own time to high school sports.
And respect should always be shown and given to them.
The most important goal for student athletes is to enjoy high school sports
while maintaining a high level of respect for all those involved in the games.
Enjoy the game.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
on the diamond,
in the pool, on the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah!
Be great.
Participate!
Our mission is to help players take their game to the next level and reach their potential. Not only do we help develop fundamental technical skills such as ball control in tight spaces with different surfaces, dribbling at speed and changing direction, using a variety of 1v1 skills to create space, receiving on a half turn, hook turn, and out of the air, finishing off the dribbling, one-touch, volleys, and headers. We help players get comfortable performing these skills at game speed, with pressure, and with both their dominant and non-dominant foot. In addition, we help players with their speed of play, awareness of space, defenders and teammates, and also dominate with their off-the-ball movement. We offer a variety of services such as one-on-ones, small groups, large groups, as well as team sessions. We have an experienced coaching staff that is professional, friendly, patient, while still holding players to high standards and holding them accountable. No matter what level you're at as a player, I'm confident we can help you get better. Over the past 3 years, we've built one of the best soccer-specific training facilities in the country and developed one of the most detail-oriented programs to help out players. Visit our website
I'm a husband. I'm a father.
I'm a sister.
I'm a son. I'm a brother.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a referee.
I'm a referee.
I am a referee.
I'm a referee.
In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. 1-on-1 with Etheridge. What a save! Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat. Ball comes in, a good hit! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge. Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0. Burzma, but then for Vlasma. 3-0. Stewart Heights with a shot. Upper 90 and in. Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos. Mario Canoe now finds Stock. Stock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it, and it's in! The Red Hawks equalize! Well, good morning, and happy Wednesday, March the 20th. It is MSN Live. Jonathan Turner alongside Mr. Dan Stickrat, our Director of News here at the Michigan Soccer Network. And Dan, I am excited. It's another Wednesday. It's another live show, and we're getting good at this.
Yeah, and you look outside the windows, and what is it doing outside?
It's doing what Michigan does best.
Snowing.
It is doing what Michigan does best, and we joke around about that a lot. Dan, driving in this morning, it was snowing on the way in. I was talking with one of our other members of our team, and he was driving in from Clarkston. He says it's a sheet of ice out here where they were at. So, it's Michigan. What can you do? If it's your first time stopping by, hit that subscribe button, like us, and share this with your friends and your family. We're excited that you are stopping by here on this Wednesday morning. It's true and tried. We've been doing this now for a number of weeks. Dan, this is your second week of doing this, right? Second week on the show?
Third week.
Third week on the show. Now that he's our full-time Director of News here at the Michigan Soccer Network. If you haven't liked and shared this with your friends and family, all we do is ask that you do that. And we got a great show lined up here. Some major news coming your way here at 10:15 this morning. Dan, this is big news for us, and this is 3 years in the making. So it's 3 years in the making. I have been working on this for 3 years. The moment that I started this platform, I'm like, we need to do this. This is something that we need to do, and persistence and follow through, and a great organization. We'll talk about that here in just about 13 minutes. I couldn't be more excited about this. I'm telling you right now, all of you at home who are watching and tuning into this, you are going to love this information as well. So you don't want to go anywhere for that. That's coming up here in just about 13 minutes. So
I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve now. You got me all excited. Like I'm going to wake up in the morning and see 100 presents around a tree.
It is extremely important. I mean, it is, when we start talking about the Michigan Soccer Network, there's nothing in my eyes that was more fundamentally important for us to be able to do than this. And we will, so you got to stick around for that this morning. And obviously, if you're watching this later on, that's fine too. Hey, also this morning at 9 a.m., Neil Rule and I, we put our recap show out there this morning. We actually did that yesterday morning at I think it was 4:30 in the morning that we recorded that video. He was getting ready to go out to do a live show for Woodward Sports Network. He had to get on a bus to go with Oakland University to Pittsburgh, who's playing in the NCAA March Madness. So, he didn't have a busy schedule at all yesterday. So
no, not at all.
We were supposed to record it on Monday, Dan, and it's Monday nights. So it's like, Sunday, we do it Monday nights. That way I can get him ready. Give me a day of editing, right? And he called me sent me a message on Monday afternoon. He's like, John, hate to do this, but I can't do it Monday night because the Campy show is on Monday night, because we're in the tournament. I was like, okay, no worries. We'll do it Tuesday. So we're going to do it Tuesday night at nighttime. And he calls me on some Monday afternoon. He's like, John, it's Tuesday's not going to work in the morning. Sorry, in the evening. Can we do something? What's plan C? I go, well, plan C is let's do it early. It wasn't 4:30. We actually recorded it yesterday at 8:15 yesterday morning here live in studio. But that's now available on our YouTube channel. We will make that available, I think, on all listing platforms as well. I think that was some feedback that we'd heard from some DCFC faithful. But hey, we had a chance to talk about that game this past weekend against Colorado Springs and the Switchbacks and the 2-1 victory. The first time that that in USL Championship League history for DCFC that they won their league opener. They did that 2-1, got 3 points. They played Loudoun United FC on Saturday, and that's an interesting team coming into town because Neil had talked about, Dan, how this Loudoun team is really rebuilt. They've got new ownership group, and they are in a good position to be in a much better way this season. So it's gonna be a test, and the Detroit City FC has really had their numbers since they've been in the league. They've won 3 out of 4 games. It's their 5th matchup. They've scored 12 goals during those 4 games and only allowed 3. So DCFC has had their number. And Dan, me and you, we've been to Leesburg, Virginia, where Loudoun United called their home. We did that this past summer, remember?
Right. Nice stadium.
It's a nice stadium in the sense that if you're a fan, if you're a player, probably love playing there. If you're a broadcaster who's bringing your own equipment into the facility, probably not the best place for you to take your equipment. But yeah, that was that was a fun time for us covering the UPSL National Finals in Leesburg, Virginia. So very, very good. Hey, so what is going on today? And let's talk about that, Dan. There's a lot of great things happening in the world today, but none more important here in Michigan than this, and that is girls soccer is getting underway here today. First contest can begin here today. We talked about this in the opener in our promo, is that, and I'll put this on your screen now, but they are officially able to play games here today. I'm not sure how that will look with it being 32 degrees outside. But hey, it is what it is. Districts start May 22nd through the 24th in the pre-district matchups. May 28th through June 1st will be the districts and district finals. Regionals get underway June 4th. Semifinals June the 11th, and then the finals at DeMartin Stadium are on June 14th and June 15th. So that is what is going on, in high school soccer today. And hey, Stony Creek, defending Division I state champions. They got to defend their state championship starting today. Now, I don't know if they have any games today. My guess is a lot of games are going to be canceled or postponed. Would be the word maybe used to maybe later next week, because not only is it cold today, it's cold tomorrow. We're supposed to get 2 to 4 inches on Friday, so I don't know how much soccer will be played on Friday. And then spring break doesn't gets underway, so that's a whole other thing.
A lot of schools across the state are going to take their spring breaks the next couple of weeks, kind of in staggered fashion. So spring sports is unique compared to fall and winter sports because you come in early to mid March. That first week of tryouts, I think there's like 9 spring sports in the state of Michigan under that Michigan High School Athletic Association, governing body. But then you have to look at when Easter falls. Do schools and private schools and parochial schools, do they take that week after Easter? Do they have a set week every year, like say the last week of March? I know there's been a lot of change with that in the last 10 or 15 years, but be that as it may, whenever they take it, not everyone is on the break at the same time. So scheduling games the first few weeks is a nightmare because you're not only dealing with the weather, the rain or snow or sleet outside. You're trying to schedule games and figure out who's on break and who isn't on that particular week. Once you get into early April, then you can hope the weather cooperates and smooth sailing because everyone's back in class and you can get your full slate of games in. But I think that's kind of a nightmare if you're a high school athletics director trying to schedule games with all these obstacles here in the first few weeks of the spring season.
Well, yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. And obviously, if you're just tuning in here this morning on this Wednesday morning, we're talking about high school girls soccer and how that gets underway here today. Official games here underway here this afternoon and evening, and I'm sure there might be some games that will still take place based on, because it seems like Country Day can go inside.
Yeah, they have
right.
That
they have that
facility.
Unbelievable facility out there, so they might be, and some I'm sure are kind of scattered, maybe to go into a United Wholesale or an Evolution or even an Oakland University Dome to get in there, maybe and do a game if they can. It doesn't necessarily matter if you play in a stadium or not. That just get the game off. Wixom might be, Toka Wixom might be one of those environments where you could do that as well. So, but yeah, hey, something really cool too, Dan. We did this last June. During high school girls interview process with coaches, I had a chance to reach out to Alexi Lawless, and he did a pre-recorded interview with us back in June of last year, and it was great. He gave me like an hour of his time, and he always said, "Hey man, we're a friend of the network. We're a friend of what you do. So anytime you want me, to do anything else with you, just let me know." Well, I did let him know. And next week we're gonna have Alexi Lawless live here on the show next week, and he's in California, so he's not gonna be here in studio. But that's 7 o'clock in the morning is when 10 o'clock Eastern is, right? So he will be here with us, teleconferencing as you call it here on the platform. But we'll have him next week here on the show as our guest. So Alexi Lawless will be here on MSN Live. So really, really cool opportunity for us to pick his brain a little bit about what's going on with the U.S. men's national team, with women's soccer. The NWSL is obviously a fast-growing league and having a lot of success, and talking about that as well as talking about the USL Championship and the lower level leagues here, U.S. Open Cup, the kind of the nightmare that's been created by the MLS with that. And we'll talk about that and more here next week on the show. And we're excited to do that. So a busy time here at the Michigan Soccer Network. I got a lot of things to announce. And we're kind of doing it on a week-by-week basis, right? So when we joke around about these announcements, but we have a lot of things to talk about and a lot of things that I've been working on, Dan, we've been working on. The news articles continue to hit out every single day. I've got probably 50 or so things I have to post to the website right now that you have been working on diligently. So yeah, there's a lot of content coming your way, and we couldn't be more excited about the direction of where this is going. It is 10:11. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our commercial break. When we come back here from our commercial, we will make this announcement. I said 10:15 this morning, a major announcement here from Michigan Soccer Network. We could not be more excited about that. And I tell you, it's a game changer. It's a game changer for soccer in the state of Michigan. You're hearing it from me right now. I'm going to continue to say this. It is a game changer. So coming up here on the other side of this break, we will have our breaking news. Major announcement coming up right here on the Michigan Soccer Network. Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
Are you looking to play at the next level? MSN is now offering player recruitment videos. We are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the diamond.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
All right, welcome back here into the MSN studios in Shelby Township, Michigan. Just busy this morning. 10:14 a.m. here on the Michigan Soccer Network. And John Turner, Dan Stickrat here with you this fine Wednesday morning. I've been talking about this now for the better part of, I don't know, Dan, 15 minutes now. But, I mean, really the better part of 3 years. And I've been talking about this because of how important it is for the state of Michigan. I've been talking about how important it is for soccer, specifically the youth game here in Michigan. And we're just really excited. And Dan, before I dive into this, just kind of allude to the magnitude of what this moment could be without going into it yet.
It bridges the gap with a lot of different entities across the state of Michigan.
That's well said. Well
Sum
said.
it all up. To be brief, concise.
So here's our breaking news, our major announcement here from the Michigan Soccer Network. We are forming and have formed a partnership with the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association. That's right, we will be broadcasting State Cup games starting this fall and moving forward and providing an unbelievable level of coverage for the state of Michigan when it comes to youth soccer. And Dan, again, I could not be more excited about this opportunity. The relationship that we're talking about is one that is going to be, I think, paramount, and one that the rest of the country is going to want to take a look at. Here's what this partnership entails: 28 game day broadcasts, pre-tournament shows and previews, post-game shows, game and tournament recaps. It is an all-encompassing relationship. Tom Farrow and Ryan Thiessen at the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association have been fundamental in this process, and I want to thank them for all of their hard work and diligence in getting this thing done. It will be the latest partnership that we have produced and created here on the Michigan Soccer Network. Again, we will compile newsworthy feature stories, enterprise pieces, game day and tournament stories, recaps about players, teams, coaches, officials, and administrators from across the state. This is a quote that Tom Farrow had. We look forward to working with MSN to enhance our events experience throughout Michigan. He's the MSYSA Executive Director. Our collaborative efforts will increase the visibility and excitement that surrounds our great sport. Ryan Thiessen also said that he's been impressed with the soccer coverage that MSN has provided across the state, and we are excited to partner with them to help shine a spotlight on the exciting moments of our youth athletes create. And we couldn't be more excited about this. And again, it's something that I've been working on for the better part of 3 years. Dan, the time has come now to give the youth game in this state of Michigan the coverage that it so much deserves.
Yeah, you're looking at a couple hundred clubs of various sizes, across the state of Michigan that feed into that system. Yeah, some of the bigger clubs had the most success, historically, when you look at some of these State Cup tournaments in different age brackets, but U13 and U19, so you're looking at late elementary, middle school, and high school State Cup tournaments, and we will be there with a lot of available bodies, covering games from the broadcast booth, from the laptop. It's going to be a great approach, great synergy, so to speak. We've been very busy reaching out to different entities across the state, whether it be high school, collegiate, MLS Next, ECNL, a lot of the amateur leagues like USL League 2, and this is a huge chunk of the puzzle because most kids that grow up playing various levels of club soccer in Michigan are teams that will play in a various age group of the MSYSA. And this is just a huge stepping stone in terms of us, in terms of growth, of being part of that system.
Yeah, and it's something that, like I said before, it's so fundamental in what we're doing, right? It's a game changer on so many levels. One is, there's not I don't think there's a kid growing up in the club environment that does not aspire to be a state champion in youth soccer. I don't think that exists. Now, granted, I know that the world has changed in regards to youth soccer with ECNL, the academy, and things like that, where maybe the player that I used to play in, that was in the back then they call it Little Caesars, but Premier, right? MPSL,
Right.
or the Michigan State Premier Soccer, whatever that the acronym is for Premier Soccer in Michigan, right? MSPSP, I think is what it is. So like those, we all played in those leagues growing up. These leagues that now exist, like Super Y and all these, they didn't exist then, right? They didn't exist when I was playing soccer. And, you only had, so the pinnacle of your season was obviously winning a tournament, right? Winning your league. And then ultimately the real pinnacle was going on and winning a state championship and then going and playing for a regional national championship. That's what you aspired to be. Obviously at an individual level, you were trying to get to the ODP, make those types of teams. Then obviously at the high school level, going and playing and competing for your high school team. That's how it all went down. I still think that players, when they get into club soccer, they're not, they're okay. I want to go play state cup. I want to go fight for that. I want to go fight for a state championship. And so it's really, really, really exciting, that we get to do this. And, the MSYSA has covered, state cup over the last number of years. I've had a chance to watch those broadcasts. And I said to him, I said, hey, just like I went when I went to Flint, and said, hey, I love what you're currently doing. We can do it better. We can do it better. Give me the opportunity. We can do it better. And that is what we did, making their broadcast better. And there's not a Flint fan that I think would argue with that. We've heard it from Costa at the box, right? We know that we've made it better. And the goal is to do the exact same thing here. Make it better. Take what you've done, the hard work that has been created by all of those before us, and make it better. And how are we going to do that? In the exact way we talked about. We're going to do pregame shows, media coverage. We're going to do stories. Just an all-out blitz of youth soccer in this state. And I am so excited, Dan, that we're going to be doing this. So that's our huge major announcement. Not a major award, like we mentioned last week, but hey. When I started MSN, here 3 years ago, my biggest goal was the broadcasting, Dan, the graphics, all that stuff to me is, it's fluff. I know it's fluff. I know it makes it look better, right? But at the end of the day, that's not what I was trying to accomplish. I was trying to give people access to something they didn't have access to before. Like, that was the goal. Access. I can go on right now and watch any EPL game I want. I can go watch any U.S. men's or women's national team game that I want, or MLS game, or you can watch all that. If you're in a Big Ten college, you can go watch basically any Big Ten game, soccer, right? Big major Power 5 schools, you go watch those games. How many lower level teams can you watch? You can't. And if you do, they're not, it's hard to see them. So the idea was to create access. And that's what we wanted to do here. So super excited about this new partnership and, what this is about. We're going to be scheduling those pregame show. We're not going to be doing any of the spring State Cup. It just, with the way the relationship formed, it just wasn't something that we could get done in that manner. So we decided we're going to get the fall, the fall State Cup broadcast. So we'll get that taken care of. And but we're not going to wait to the fall to give coverage. I want to get that going right away. So we are going to be doing a pre State Cup kind of a preview show. Me and you will do that here in studio, and we'll talk about the matchups at State Cup here coming up here later on in I believe the State Cup finals are in June. So we'll hop in and get with that, and yeah, Dan. I'm excited.
We've talked over the last couple of years. You and I sat down and had some dinner in Troy, Michigan. We talked about a lot of different things that you would like to see in the next 2-3 years.
It's a gathering place.
It was a gathering place in Troy.
Yep.
We had pizza, but in that conversation, we talked about a lot of different leagues and age groups and associations and governing bodies, so to speak. Long term, we'd like to have an affiliation with, a partnership with, a synergy with. And we have been quite active in the backgrounds, getting these things going. This is, like I said earlier, this is a huge piece of the puzzle. And, when I was in college in the mid-90s, I started out working for a weekly newspaper, but, I had an internship at the Detroit News, and, I started making contacts with different media people around the state, but soccer then, and it's still in some capacity now, most of the stuff is untouched. Yeah, someone might tweet something out on Twitter X or put a photo or a little, cut line on Facebook. But the meats, potatoes, a lot of levels of soccer aren't covered. There's not a lot of media presence at most soccer events, whether it be even today, even high school soccer doesn't get enough coverage. MLS Next and Girls Academy, ECNL doesn't. Anything under the MSYSA, there's not a lot of presence for media at these state cup tournaments. A lot of times a team will win a state cup, maybe they advance to a Midwest regional, or maybe they're one of the 8 teams that qualify for the national tournament. There's been lots of teams from Michigan at different levels of the club soccer system, at different tiers, that have won national championships. And there's nothing in the daily or weekly or twice a week newspapers or online, because obviously a lot of places don't print their newspapers anymore, or only print it on certain days of the week or certain days of the month. But overall, they're still not in there. And, I think back 20, 25 years ago, a lot of times, like, even when newspapers were booming and we had a full-time staff, a team might win a state cup, and on the back page of the sports section, we'll run a couple team photos with the names of the players and the coaches, and that's it. Nothing about it. I feel like when a team wins a state and Midwest title and they're in the national tournament, I don't care if it's a U14 club team or a girls academy team or a boys MLS Next. I think the spotlight should be shined on these players, their athletes and coaches. It's a great accomplishment. When we go to a high school state finals, yes, high school sports following in this country, and I'm talking about all high school sports, it's huge. There is media presence at a state Final Four event. Girls basketball will have their Final Four this week up at Michigan State to end the winter sports season. There'll be a lot of reporters and photographers and videographers there Thursday through Saturday. But you look at the larger scope of things and the way the media has gone, the staffs are much smaller than they used to be 20, 30 years ago. So even more falls through the cracks in terms of media coverage when it comes to soccer. So that's what our goal is, I think, long term, is to kind of become a hub where people can come to us, and we're going to provide some kind of content, whether it's a live broadcast, an in-studio show, a reporter on the phone, or at a game. And I think this is just another huge step in that process of delivering a service to a lot of different clubs across the state of Michigan.
No question about that. If you're just joining us, breaking news this morning, MSN to broadcast. Moving forward, the MSYSA State Cup Final starting this fall. And we couldn't be more excited about that. We'll talk more about that and much more here. You're watching MSN Live on the Michigan Soccer Network.
to take your game to the next level. Did you know that MSN is now offering player recruitment videos? Our packages include a player profile where you show your preferred positions, the club, the league, or school that you play in, your current coach contact information, and more. The highlight videos could be self-submitted, 15 to 30 clips that will be put into a 3 to 7 minute long video. Video review of your Huddle, VO, or other platforms that you might have video on, as well as for an additional charge, MSN can come out and film games for you to create those clips. Our coach evaluation process, which is also an additional charge, where we have college coaches from various levels across the United States that will review your game film and provide feedback on how to improve that film, as well as also evaluating your play and what you can improve on. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
Welcome back here into our MSN studio, Shelby Township, Michigan. John Turner, Dan Stickrad. It is Wednesday, March the 20th. And we just announced here a few moments ago about our Michigan State Youth Soccer Association partnership. And Dan, I talked about how excited I am in regards to that. I am excited, but something that I want to get off my chest here, Dan, a little bit this morning. It's 10:31 here. It is 33 degrees outside, and it's not how cold it is, by the way. That's not what I want to get off my chest. Something that I think is important. And, within the world of social media, in the world of access to so much stuff so quickly, it still befuddles me that it's so hard sometimes to get a hold of people. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to be able to, get a response in an email or a text message, or even, the amount of exposure that we could get on social media, right? I've talked about this. There are a number of organizations out there that do what we do, right? Not to the level that we do it, but do what we do, right? We talk about that all the time. There are a number of entities out there that are in the kind of the same space, right? That focus solely on soccer, right? I'm not going to lie. I'll be the first one to tell you that when I see a post that we put out there that we are in charge of, and when I say we're in charge of it, like, I'll give you an example. We are the official, release partner of the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association, right? So when it comes to rankings come to us. We get them. We are the ones that publish them. We are the ones that facilitate the process of releasing those to the public. It's an exclusive relationship. Now, there are other organizations that post those same things, and I'll be honest with you, they get more likes than we do in those posts. Does that frustrate the crap out of me? Of course it does, because we're like literally we release them. But that's also because we don't have the same amount of followers quite yet like they have. They've been around for maybe 10 years. We've been around for 2, right? So, but then you think about, okay, well, how many coaches are there in the state of Michigan? I don't know, Dan, how many coaches are there? Like, you think about how many schools there are, right? There's 460 plus soccer schools, right?
For girls, and for girls. Over 500 for boys.
So each program is going to have at least a varsity coach. That's one coach. So that's 460 coaches, right? Just at the girls level. You throw in JV. Let's just say half of them have JV. So that's another 230 coaches that are on JV. You have a freshman team. Let's just say another half of them. There's like 700 coaches just in girls soccer alone in the state of Michigan. We don't have access to all those coaches. If they knew what we did, they would want to be a part of it, I think, on some level. So yeah, we want as many people to know about what we do as possible, and it has nothing to do with being bigger or better. Everything to do about us being able to do our jobs, right? I want to be able to talk to a coach about a potential covering of a game. I want to be able to talk to a coach about their players and maybe doing a feature story on them, like you want to do, Dan. We want to talk to their teams about what their outlook looks like, right? We want to be able to have those conversations, and we can't do that unless they pick up the phone or they answer an email. Now, I also know that I send out like 1 million emails a day, so chances are my email's probably on some blacklist that keeps you from going into your inbox. It probably goes into into your spam, and you're probably having to go search for it. But the reality is that, and the reason why I'm doing this, Dan, is because I think it's important. Everybody gets busy. Everybody. There are good coaches out there that want to give their kids as much exposure as they possibly can. And then there's ones out there that don't give a crap. That's the spectrum, right? The coaches that aren't going to go the extra mile. And it has nothing to do with how good of a coach they might be as far as the tactical and technical aspect of their game. They just might not be fit for that. They might not they're not equipped. There are some coaches that are equipped and some that are not. There are some coaches out there that no matter what they get paid or how much they don't get paid, doesn't matter. They will always go above and beyond for their players. And then there are coaches out there that won't. It's just kind of the nature of the business. It doesn't matter what role or what coach you have. You know, there's just like any job, you're going to have a good employee, you're going to have bad employees. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that are kind of sprinkled in there somewhere. Right? Just like not all parents are bad. Not all parents on the sideline are bad. There are a handful that are bad, and there are a handful that are fantastic, and there's a bunch of more that are sprinkled in there.
Right.
That's how that works. So, you know, I mean, if you want your kids to get more exposure, partnering with MSN is one of the best things you can possibly do because, you know, all we're doing is going up. That's all we're doing. All we're doing is going up. And the amount of exposure that we are about to give, just take what we've been doing and multiply that by, I don't know, Dan, 100? I mean, that's probably the best way to put it. I mean, the MSYSA has access to over 90,000 families. And in their best interest, they are going to share what we are doing with them. So now every MSYSA family now knows who MSN is. So that exposure, second to none. Right? So every club, over 230 clubs in the state of Michigan now know, effectively today, that we exist. And maybe half of them knew that we existed. I don't know. I think on some level people know we exist, but I think not to the extent of our existence. Or maybe they think that we're unreachable. You know, there's many reasons as to why someone might think, hey, maybe we, you know, I don't know if I could, they're even in our ballpark. Would they even come to our games? I would come to any game. I don't care. You know, I'll drive to Saugatuck. I've driven to Mackinac Island. I've gotten my equipment across on the ferry, and we did a game there. So, yeah, I mean, we want access. I sent an email out to over 3,000 administrators and athletic directors and principals on Monday saying, hey, if you don't know who we are, now you do. Here it is. Introduction. Here we are. We saw an influx of subscribers on our website. Coaches from across the state. Not nearly enough. I think we saw like 30 to 40 subscribers on our platform, meaning that they're going to get an email from us now about what we're doing. You know? But if you're listening or you're tuning into this and you're a coach or you're a player, you're a parent, share this with your coach. Share this with your club. Why? Don't you want your children and your kids and your team to get more exposure? And how's that going to happen? It's going to happen in the form of a news article, a game recap, a one-on-one interview, us coming out and filming a game. The sky is the limit, Dan. The sky is the limit.
The options are plentiful. You know, and I'll talk about this a little bit. So girls soccer season starting. There won't be a lot of games until April. But in the last week or so, I've been sending out preseason surveys by conference. There's over 60 conferences that will be decided over the next couple months. Plus, there's a few dozen independents that don't play a conference schedule. But I didn't just start working on this preview on Sunday. I started taking notes over Christmas break. You know, going through websites of the MHSA and some of the Christian associations, going through hundreds of websites for athletic departments or individual teams, going through social media, platforms, looking for information. And spent a lot of time. And then once we get a lot of these surveys back, and I'll be filling in gaps based on information I've researched. But there's nothing more heartening that you literally spend a couple hundred hours of your time to do something right, do something that's never been done before in terms of soccer coverage, because believe me, when it comes to football and boys basketball, when the Free Press or News or any of the newspapers are under M Live sent out a survey looking for information, you better believe the Coach Association is giving them the email addresses of every coach in the state. The athletic directors are quick to pass along to a football coach. They also do media. A lot of the conferences do media days every end of July and beginning of August every year for football. People can't get enough of the information, but football is a different entity because it is the most popular sport in the U.S. So that information is sent out, fairly regularly. But with soccer and really a lot of the other sports, it doesn't work that way. And it's disheartening when you talk to a coach a month after, I got your survey. I just didn't have time. But I had time to spend a couple hundred hours of my time to research and try to put together information on all these teams. And then you get an email. There's always going to be a couple schools out there, a parent irate on the least knowledgeable person in the world. How dare you leave my kid off your list? How dare you ignore my school? And it's like, listen, I emailed the coach 5 times. I texted him 3 times. I sent 3 rounds of emails to the athletics director and the secretary asking for 15 minutes for the coaching staff to fill out a survey. So if you have a problem, perhaps you should go to your athletic director and your coach and say, hey, why didn't anyone from our school send anything in? Because a lot of coaches will, but there are some coaches out there, and I'm not just talking about soccer, I'm talking about all sports out there. It doesn't matter how many times you email and call and text, they're never going to send their information in. So let them deal with the parents that are upset because their kids and their teams aren't involved in coverage.
We get this all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, last week we published the college commitments, and we'll do that again tomorrow. Update the list. We'll do that on our website, and because that's something that we and one of these days I'm just going to have to literally just spend an entire show just going through our website. But the reality is that we do get things wrong. We misspell the name. We misspell school. We get things wrong, and people have no problem coming up to us and telling us that we got it wrong. It's happened in game where people walk into the press box and say, "You're saying my kid's name wrong," and again, that's not something that we're trying to do. But in most cases, we don't necessarily even have the phonetics of the name, or we don't have the proper pronunciation, whatever you want to call it, leading up to that game, anyways. And we've only had 4 or 5 minutes to get prepared. So, arguably you'll get that wrong. And of course we're like, we'll do everything we can to get it right. But what the whole purpose of this moment right now, the whole purpose of this, to talk about this, as it's 10:43 here in the morning in Michigan, is to say, hey, moms and dads, coaches, administrators, we need your help in getting the word out about what we do here. Because if you're expecting it to happen on its own, it won't. If you're expecting, the quote unquote major news, organizations, the Detroit Free Presses of the world, or Detroit News, or entities like that to cover your child or your team, it's not going to happen. 99.9% of the time, they will never be anywhere near soccer. Okay? Never. And it's not because it's, to be fair, I don't even know why, to be fair, but because lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. I mean, that's why. Football is, and I love football. I watch football every Sunday. I can't get enough of it. But to those of you who are going to soccer games in weather like this today, who are driving their children to and from training sessions, both provided by the team and by personal trainers, don't you want to see more coverage? And the answer to that question is yes. And, a lot of clubs do a good job of getting coverage out, right? I mean, We talk about that. I mean, one of the best ones in the business, Nationals, they do a great job of highlighting players and their teams. But not every club is like the Nationals. We could be that segue between what your club does and what, not what your club does, but what your club and what the media does. And that's us. But we need you to share this. We need you to share this with your friends, your family, your clubs, your coaches. Doesn't matter. Demand it. Walk into your athletic director's office and say, hey, why aren't we having MSN out at our games? Why not? We have so many programs that are available to get us out to come to games. I mean, so affordable. I mean, Dan, did you know this? But it costs like on average $25 family for us to go to a soccer game. You got 20 kids on your team, 20 times 25. And that gets us to a game. Well, we gotta pay people to come. I gotta travel. It costs money to produce games. So it's not free. But for us to come to a game, it costs $25 a family. Tell me what family would not want to have the coverage that we provide. And if you need proof of it, MichiganSoccerNetwork.com, Michigan Soccer Network on YouTube. Watch all the games you want. They're right there. There's what we do. 1 camera, 2 cameras, 5 cameras, doesn't matter. I can do them all. But that's what we do. So if you want coverage, it's $25. And if you want us to come out to do a doubleheader JV and a varsity game for high school, great, we'll do that too. Because yes, even JV deserves a little bit of exposure. And Dan, we've talked about this, and I something that I want to implement. I'll put it right here out to the world. We'd like to highlight a JV team. We'd like to write a story about a JV team. That's unheard of. Name one news site or media site that would ever. Now, varsity will get coverage. In the Oakland Press, MI Prep Zone, we know Troy Athens, Rochester Adams. We know Utica Eisenhower's will be Macomb Daily. We know that they will get their exposure because they're varsity programs. How about a JV team? Can you think of any in the history of mankind, Dan, where a JV team got coverage? Outside of maybe one that had won like 100 games in a row and they were like on some crazy hot winning streak that lasted for 10 years?
Yeah, maybe a small weekly newspaper out there might put a little blurb, underneath the, a recap of, some varsity teams in their coverage area, but not extensive. And hey, you may have a junior varsity soccer team or basketball team or whatever that goes 20-0-0.
Yeah.
Or 19-1.
Well,
I think it's newsworthy a little bit, at least a little.
Hey, it's just as newsworthy as U12 winning a tournament someplace. And we're going to bring both of those to you. It is 9:47 a.m., and you're watching the Michigan Soccer Network.
I think it's 10:47.
Sorry, 10:47. Thank you. Jeez, oh, Pete. And you're watching MSN Live on the Michigan Soccer Network. We're back.
Did you know that MSN is now offering player recruitment videos? We're offering everything from player profiles, highlight videos for in-game highlights, as well as college evaluations of the overall videos, and much more. Our packages include player profiles, where you can highlight your preferred positions, the club, the school, or league that you play in, your current contact of your coach, academics and accolades, and more. The highlight videos could be self-submitted, 15 to 30 clips that will be put into a 3 to 7 minute long video. Video review of your Huddle, VO, or other platforms that you might have video on, as well as for an additional charge, MSN can come out and film games for you to create those clips. Our coach evaluation process, which is also an additional charge, where we have college coaches from various levels across the United States that will review your game film and provide feedback on how to improve that film, as well as also evaluating your play and what you can improve on. Michigan Soccer Network, we are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
Welcome you here back into our MSN studios in Shelby Township, Michigan. John Turner alongside Dan Stickrad. And we're at the business end of our MSN Live show here on this Wednesday. A big day for us here, as we talked about this earlier. We announced here earlier that in breaking news, it was a breaking news, Dan, announced our partnership with the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association and 28 game day broadcast, pre-tournament shows and previews, post-game shows, game and tournament recaps, and more. All of that starting here today. And we couldn't be more excited about that. We also mentioned here earlier as well, and we'll dive into this here, but girls soccer getting underway here today as well. First contests start today, and whether that's going to happen based on weather, that's another thing to be said. As you see the full lineup of high school girls soccer there. And next week here on the show, Alexi Lawless will join us. That's right, Alexi Lawless live next Wednesday here at 10 a.m., and so if you want to ask him a question, what better time to do that when he's on the air with us? So we'll have that available next week as well. But Alexi Lawless will join us here next week. Talk all things soccer, U.S. Men's National Team, MLS, U.S. Open Cup, and more. All that next week right here on the Michigan Soccer Network. And so, Dan, as I mentioned, it's 10:51 now, not 9:51. As I mentioned, that was a wrong time here earlier. But we've got 9 minutes left. We got to fill some airtime here. What do you want to talk about?
I was wondering, we should mention that's 10 a.m. Eastern because Alexi Lawless is going to be joining us. What is it? 7 a.m. in California?
Well, yeah, it's a 3-hour difference. So it'll be he'll be getting up at 6:45 with us next week and getting him all logged in on our teleconference here, which we did this past week for Media Day. We got some coaches who are all across the state, so was able to get that into the broadcast without any problems. So we're excited about doing that again here, and this time now with Alexi Lawless. So, but the things that we learn on the fly, Dan, have been fun. Let's talk about things coming up here on MSN here coming up. The high school ranking show will get underway here starting Sunday, April the 7th. It's a whole new format, a whole new way of and look and feel. Very similar to what you're seeing now or what you've been seeing on your screen throughout much of this show. We will do a better job of highlighting teams and players during that show. We have asked that players as well as coaches share their videos with us. And you can go over to MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Right on the homepage, you can click on Share Your Video with us, and we will try and create highlight videos and reels that we can put out to the world to highlight you and give you more exposure as well as your team. Don't be afraid to message us about anything related to your team. We'll try and do our best to get it out to you as well. Follow us on all social media at MI Soccer Network on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You can find us on all platforms as well. And Dan, as we wrap this show up here today, I'd be remiss if I didn't just talk about kind of some of the things that we've got coming up here in April. We are bringing ECNL boys coverage here later on in April 13th and 14th from Avondale High School. We are in the process of finalizing a number of other broadcast deals that will bring all different levels of soccer here to the state of Michigan here coming in not only in April, but May, June, and July as well. I think we already have in June scheduled 40 games in June. So just to give people an idea of what we're trying to do. We've got games out of Chicago within the UPSL. We've got games in the Women's Super League, high school. We're working on some college as well. You've got your youth that we're talking about. We've got so many opportunities to catch what we're doing. It's really exciting.
Yeah, a lot more to come. I know you've been very busy behind the scenes, having discussions and meetings with people from different governing bodies and teams, from all over the state. And, we talked about you did a amateur game up on Mackinac Island a couple years ago during the summer months. We're willing to travel. If we have to go out to Grand Rapids or Muskegon or over to Battle Creek, up to Gaylord, whatever, there's a lot of action out there that we would love to be part of.
There's no doubt about that, no question about that. And if you have not headed over to our MSN news site at the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com, do it. It's right there at the top of the page. We have all news articles from all different levels of soccer across the great state of Michigan, including just in the last couple of days, we announced, not announced, but we basically re-announced all of the high school Mr. and Miss Soccer winners over the history of the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association. That's available to view on our website. Hey, we are releasing the high school conference all league teams along with their final standings for each conference from around the state of Michigan. We're doing that here all throughout the rest of, I have so many to publish. It's not even funny. So we'll start publishing those. So keep an eye out for all of those. We have the DCFC match recap here from their USL Championship League opener against Colorado Springs Switchbacks here this past Saturday. An 89th minute goal by local Colin Connor Rutz. He got the game winner in that game. And as well as our new partnership announcement in regards to the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association. So a lot of things being released here over the last couple of days, and we'll continue to release more here on our platform. If you're a college commit or recently committed to college, right on our website, under our highlight videos tab, you can go to college commitments, and right there, if you select that if you want to be listed on our platform, click on our form, and we will get you listed on our platform. There's no charge to that. We just want to give college commits the exposure that they deserve. So it's a huge monumental moment in your career and in your life, and we want to be a part of it. So a lot of that and much more coming. Dan, we have a lot of things. Something that I'm working on diligently. I can't talk about what it is specifically, but let's just say this: it falls in line with the college commitment thing. And, and to those players out there that maybe might need some help when it comes to college. So we're going to talk about that here in the coming weeks, about how MSN can help. And we're excited about that announcement. So we'll bring more about that here in the coming weeks. But really, really excited to begin about the direction of our platform and this new relationship that we announced here at 10:15 this morning, our new partnership with the Michigan State Youth Soccer Association. They are the governing body for all things youth soccer here in the state of Michigan, and we couldn't be more excited about that partnership.
Yeah, we talked about in the last couple of weeks, Neil Rule is doing a recap show for the Detroit City Football Club.
Yeah, me and him do those shows together, and it's something I got to commit to for 33 weeks now. So, yay me. But yeah, and it's funny because, it kind of, the amount of prep time that I had to prepare for it was about 4 hours. Because I thought I had all day Tuesday to prepare, and it turned into I didn't have any time on Tuesday at all. So a little rough for me. I'll get better at that, I promise. But we're excited about that nonetheless, and it's going to be something that's really cool. It's not something that's currently being done anywhere throughout the state of Michigan, and we are glad that we have the voice of Detroit City FC and Neil Rule. Our goal, obviously, to get maybe some players to participate in this a little bit, which would be fun, and hopefully that will happen here as well. But that one showed up here just under 2 hours ago is when that launched on our platform. Available on our Michigan Soccer Network YouTube channel, right under the playlist of DCFC recaps. So pretty simple there, and you can watch that from now into infinity. That's where it'll be.
Yeah, Neil Rule, one of the good guys of the Michigan media circles, very well-respected individual, the voice of DCFC, the voice for Oakland University Athletics. He's involved with Woodward Sports Network. He's everywhere, but very personal individual, very knowledgeable. Glad that he is going to be contributing to us in various ways here in the upcoming weeks and months.
Yeah, no question about. Again, just super excited about that relationship and getting him involved with us as well. So, super exciting times here at the Michigan Soccer Network. If it's your first time stopping by, all we ask you do is subscribe. Hit the like, share this with your friends and family. Tell your coaches, tell your athletic directors, demand they know who we are, because that way we can continue to grow this thing to the heights that the game of soccer in Michigan deserve. That is a wrap, though, for our show here today, Dan. Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, but not so crazy that it's snowing out again.
It's 33 degrees outside.
Yeah, welcome to the debut of spring sports.
That's right.
Congratulations if you are a soccer lacrosse player and you walk out on your turf field tonight and it's flurrying.
That's right. As we talked about this, girls soccer gets underway here today. Whether that happens or not, it's, again, another thing to be seen. But either way, it is the first day of soccer here in the state of Michigan, and I'm sure all the players out there are excited to get out there and compete for league and state championships alike. So exciting times for all of us here at the Michigan Soccer Network. I want to thank Dan once again being our co-host here on MSN Live. I'm Jonathan Turner. I want to thank our sponsors. They're rolling at the bottom of your screen like they've been doing all show long. Remember, for more information and breaking news, head over to MichiganSoccerNetwork.com along with all of our social media. From all of us here at the Michigan Soccer Network, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and so long. And for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. One-on-one with Etheridge. What a save! Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrett. Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge. Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0. Burzma, but then for Vlasma! 3-0. Stewart Heights with a shot! Upper 90 and in! Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos. Mario Canoe now finds